Guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 5 on DraftKings. Going to kick off in just a couple of days. So let's talk about 5 of the top stacks on this slate. Now, stacking is not something I do in head-to-heads, in 50-50s and double-ups unless the value makes sense. This is a tournament strategy for you to correlate your lineups and try to give yourself the best shot. If the quarterback goes off, he's going to drag a couple of wide receivers with him. You're going to bring that back with somebody on the other team, because that's what leads to the easiest path. It's easier to be right about one thing than it is about 4 things, and filling out a 9-team parlay card, which is essentially what a daily fantasy lineup is. It's easier when you can have those pieces that are working together, that are pulling the rope at the same time for the tug of war that is a daily fantasy tournament. So if you wanted to talk about this more, make sure that you join our Discord at smizzle.tv/Discord if you wanted to join the VIP rooms. We have about 10,000 members in our Discord at this point, and the majority of them, the most activity where people are talking about daily fantasy strategies and everything else, is in the locked VIP rooms. That is locked behind the channel membership here on YouTube or a sub on Twitch. Go to smizzle.tv/join. It's $5 a month if you join on desktop. They're going to add a fee if you join on mobile, because that's what they do because of the App Store stuff. Get in there, go to the instructions folder. It's a hashtag instructions, and link your accounts, and you'll see access or get access to the VIP rooms and my week 5 cheat sheet, which comes out every single Friday. Okay? 3-step process. Become a channel member, join the Discord, link your accounts. Fantasy goodness awaits you. So thank you guys for being here. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. And I see you guys who are watching the video and aren't yet subscribed. It's about 35% of you guys. So why not just subscribe to the channel? It's very easy to do. Drop a reply. Let me know which stack I didn't talk about that you think is going to blow up this weekend. And let's go.
He's a legend.
The Smiz Gang Listener League is posted. Go to smizzle.tv/links if you want to find the link to that. It also has everything else. My Instagram, Discord, TikTok, fantasy football channel where I shout out the top 10 finishers in the Listener League every single Monday. If you want to see how I did the previous week, go there and check out the recap video. $10 to enter 3 max. $45,000 in the prize pool, and every single penny of that gets paid out. It has filled the last 2 weeks on Saturday, so make sure you get your 3 entries right meow, because otherwise you're going to get shut out, and I don't want you to get shut out. It's the best tournament on DraftKings. Does not exist in the lobby. You won't find it. You got to go to smizzle.tv/links if you want to get in. You can't win if you're not in. So we got the Giants against the Dolphins. Dolphins favored by 11 points, 48.5. The Giants are a whole hot mess at this point. But the Dolphins aren't that great defensively either. Like, they're not bad, but they're gettable a little bit. Panthers against the Lions, 10-point favorites in this one. Ravens against the Steelers, 4-point favorites, total of 38. Blech. Texans against Atlanta, 42. Atlanta now up to a 2-point favorite. Colts, 2-point dogs against Tennessee. 43 is the total there. Saints against Patriots, total of 39 in terms of passing games. Eagles against the Rams. This one's super interesting. Rams only 4.5-point dogs. 49.5 on the total. Eagles surely can get pressure, but they're a little bit susceptible to certain things defensively. They give up a lot of prayer yards on the outside, and tight ends tend to do well. It might be a spot this week for good old Higbee in that spot. Bengals against the Cardinals, only 3-point favorites. If I told you that in week 5, the Cincinnati Bengals would be 3-point favorites over the Arizona Cardinals, you would have thought that I needed to reset the simulation. But here we are. Life comes at you fast. Chiefs and the Vikings, 53 in this one. This is going to be the most popular spot to be, but it's very hard to get there for a few reasons. We're going to talk about it in this video. Jets go up against the Denver Broncos in the battle of 2 struggling teams, and that's all that we got on this slate. So let's talk about Joe Burrow right up top. He has not done well. I do think that the problems that they're having are somewhat philosophical problems that they could be able to fix. And we saw them try to do this 2 weeks ago on the fly on that Island game, where they started lining up Chase in the slot and just, let's get the ball into the hands of our best guy. Okay? They didn't do that again last week against Tennessee, and they got trampled. Cincinnati is facing some of the most opportunities at light boxes in the league, 6 or less players in the box, and they've thrown it on 80% of those light box plays, which means that either they're not adjusting as a sideline and giving Joe Burrow a this or that, which is what most teams do, like all teams do with their pre-snap reads. If you find this read, then you simply audible to this. Usually it's like left side, right side type stuff. Like if you see this coverage, we're going to the left. You see this coverage pre-snap, we're going to the right side. If you see this coverage, we're going to shift to a run. If you see this coverage, we're going to flip the play. Whatever it is. Or he's not audibling into a run in those spots and just being belligerent and just trying to get up after it. There are certainly spots you can go. I think that they figure it out. I especially think that they figure it out against Arizona. And I think that Arizona has some really good values on their side of the ball, which if you want to just go with Jamar Chase as a standalone option with like a secondary stack, he's a standalone value. I try to, if I'm going to play Jamar Chase, because I think he's going to have a big day, I think somebody else on the other side is going to have a big day, and there's plenty of them. I think that if you're going to play Joe Burrow, that Jamar Chase is going to be locked into those lineups. I can't expect that T. Higgins is going to be back from a broken rib in 1 week. You got to give him some time off. They've already messed with this injury nonsense already with Joe Burrow. I'm going to play under the assumption that he's out. And if he's in, I'm going to adjust later, right? It's like, look for the fastball, adjust to the curve. So I'm playing as though he's out, which means increased workload for Joe Mixon. I think he's going to be a cash game play by the weekend, meaning that he's clearly a cash game play right now, but I mean like one that everybody, like over 50% in double ups. So if he's that sort of a play, people aren't going to play the pass game because nobody wants to click Tyler Boyd. But he's been solid with 24 targets the last 3 weeks. He just hasn't popped because he's a low ADOT guy. He falls down 4,500 for him on the other side of this game. Tons of value as well. You can bring him back with James Conner, Marquise Brown. Where's the other cat? Wilson had 2 touchdowns last week at 3,700. I think he may be popular. Or Zach Ertz if you want to fill the tight end spot at 35. Loads of volume. They've been more efficient than people want to believe. And if we take a look at where their targets have been over at PFF, you can see 40 targets, 30. These are going to be vacated, which is going to open up more volume for Tyler Boyd. And then we'll see about Irv Smith. We'll see about Tanner Hudson. Somebody's going to step into this spot and probably get 5 to 8 targets. And it may be Charlie Jones, or it may be the Croc Hunter, Trenton Irwin. Jared Goff playing at home is enough to want to stack him, especially considering that everybody and their mom wants to play the running game in this one because Carolina, the 3rd most points against on DraftKings that a defense is allowed to the position, and he's playing at home against a bad defense where everybody is going to be on David Montgomery for good volume reason, of course. And I'm sure that people are going to say, I'm going to leverage off Montgomery because this is going to be the week. This is going to be the week that Jahmyr Gibbs breaks a long touchdown and gets me 20 opportunities because they're going to win by so much. But like, what if they just come out and run their off guard and then play action to guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, to guys like Josh Reynolds, who's been extremely steady so far at 4,200. Downfield, they still have Khalif Raymond, but they get Jammo back this week early. And if you listen to podcasts, you've known that they have their teammates, David Montgomery, his teammates, guys that are on this podcast, are saying how good he looks. And they may just be gassing up their guy, but taking a tournament shot at him at 4K, a guy who can get that 65-yard touchdown. I don't expect him to play a full complement of snaps. We'll see how they roll him out there. But for a tournament play, I like him better than Raymond. And Sam Laporta gives us an extremely solid tight end, so double stacks galore. And on the other side, we clearly have volume that we can attack. The thing to monitor would be Miles Sanders. Limited in practice on Wednesday. He was clearly limited in the game with only 16 opportunities last weekend. If he's out, mega value with Chuba Hubbard probably getting the majority of the snaps and the touches. Taking a look at their targets, it's pretty straightforward. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown, it's Sam Laporta, then it's Josh Reynolds. We'll see how they mix in Jammo to the rest of it. Can't ignore Patrick Mahomes, especially against Minnesota. This is going to grade as one of the top stacks in terms of volume, upside, 30-point possibility, team total, in a dome, against a team that can't stop them. The problem is, team that can't stop anybody, let alone the Chiefs. The problem is this. This is the freaking problem. If you look at where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and only one of them over 20 targets, and he's only played 3 games. So looking at these 4, less than 5 targets a game, less than 4 targets a game for Sky Moore, just over 3 targets a game for Watson. Kadarius Toney, who cares? Noah Gray annoys everybody. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, less than 3 targets a game. And so Chad is going to ask me, and I just saw it pop up too, well, what if we just single stack him and go with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce? Everybody else is going to do that too. So you're going to end up on Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, which is going to lead us to everything that's the same on the other side. My favorite play in this game right now is Rashee Rice, who has a $3,600 salary and has seen an uptick in terms of snaps, routes run, red zone usage the last 3 weeks. And so if I'm going to stack, you want to get off of something. Most of these guys are going to be somewhat dart throws. Obviously, bringing it back on the other side, and this is the latest game, which gives you some late swap ability. It starts 20 minutes after the other 2 afternoon games, and obviously some of these games are lower totaled games, low total. Detroit has a high total, low total. Miami's got a high total, low total, low total. So like PMR is probably going to win this weekend between Cincy, Arizona, Philly, Los Angeles Rams. This game might have some fantasy goodness, and everybody's going to want to get to Justin Jefferson in tournaments. He's got to be 15%. The opposite way to go would be to go with a secondary stack with Hawkinson. Maybe you open up tight end and flex if that's something that you want to do. And obviously we've seen big playability from somebody like Addison, as well as a ton of volume at running back from Madison. But Kansas City has been a tough defense, a tough nut to crack. So gonna be difficult to try and solve that puzzle without being obvious for Kansas City. But it is worth trying to figure it out once we have like Saturday afternoon, when we've got a little bit better picture. It comes more into focus about where the percentages are going to be, where you can find smart ways to be contrarian. Is going to be the way that you're going to have to attack this game, be it through Mahomes stacks or using it as a secondary. Let's head over to Underdog Fantasy, and if you have not taken advantage of the deposit bonus over on Underdog Fantasy, you should. Use promo code ALSMIZZLE, ALSMIZZLE. That's one word. I believe right now they've taken away the $500. You get up to $100 deposit bonus on your first deposit to the site. I am playing Pick'em as long as they let me play Pick'em. They got 100K Sunday. They've got a Christian McCaffrey freebie if you wanted to take advantage of that one. He needs to get over half a yard for you to tick off that one piece on that one. I'm not using anyone. I'm going to go with the 3 quarterbacks that we've talked about so far. I'll accept the change here. Jared Goff, 42.5. Patrick Mahomes over 285.5. Joe Burrow over, so 2 or more touchdown pass. We'll do that one for $100 to pay $600, and hopefully we can hit that one. Go jump over to Underdog Fantasy today. Play Pick'em if it's available in your state. They have a lot of other great products like Battle Royale, as well as the Best Ball Resurrection that is going now. Joshua Dobbs is not the puke stack. Okay? Not the puke stack. He isn't. They're a very good value. In fact, they're the best value on the board this week is Joshua Dobbs doubles. And it also allows you to get access to a really juiced up secondary stack or one-offs the rest of your lineup. Chaz, it may not be the puke stack, but it just made me a little queasy. Look, he's been solid. 23 points, 25 points. And that was against San Francisco. Did well against Dallas. They're calling more designed runs. Here's the thing. A front office and an owner wants to tank. A front office and an owner wants to do everything they can for the long-term health of a franchise, to put themselves in a position to get as many assets as they can possibly get. However, players and coaches do not give a single solitary. They don't care. They're not going to tank. They're not going to go out there and try and lose. The coaches aren't going to coach to lose, because if you coach to lose, you're going to get fired and get all these assets for the guy who's going to replace you and make him look like a genius. So they're trying to win football games. The players aren't going to put bad tape out there. That's not something that they do, because they're playing for the next contract. That's how they're going to play. So Joshua Dobbs and his running ability and his passing efficiency thus far against the Cincinnati defense that has not done much to stop people at home, with tremendous values wrapped around him at tight end. I don't care how old he is as long as he keeps earning targets. 10 targets, 8 targets, 10 targets, $3,500. Yep, I'm on board with Zach Ertz this week. Hollywood Brown, 10 targets, 7 targets, 10 targets, and hasn't really busted a 50-plus yard touchdown yet, something that we know is clearly within his skill set. He's $5K. This leaves you an awful lot of money right here. Michael Wilson, the only big wide receiver that they have, if they want to go to an outside target when they get inside the 10-yard line, flexed that last week. The rookie from Stanford had 2 touchdowns, 3.7K. I know that some people like Rondale Moore. It's very low volume, very high risk, 3,200, especially when you've got somebody that's getting more snaps and targets on the other side. You look at what they've done so far. Wilson, third on the team in terms of targets with 17 so far, 14 receptions. Been very good in terms of PFF grades. Really out on the field and running a ton of routes. Rondale Moore struggles to get open. Definitely has some juice. Evan Silva, by the way, glad you're feeling better, Evan. Glad to have you back, man. Industry ain't the same when you're on the shelf, so glad you're back there on the field. Rondale Moore, Evan's like, he's probably his best position in the NFL is probably at running back, and he's probably right, because like he can't operate on the outside and win where these three dudes can, and this is where the bulk of their stuff goes. And guess what, if you were to do something like this or that or whatever, that's a pretty good bring back play. And it still leaves us 5,600 to do with the rest of our lineup. Or you can say, I'm gonna stay away from the Jamar Chase chalk, and I'm gonna go here with Tyler Boyd and open up 6,400 for the rest of your stack there. Solid value across the board with Arizona stacks, double stacks, and Cincinnati bring back, which then opens up the possibility for you to go after high price running backs, get Justin Jefferson into this lineup, Travis Kelce, anything that you wish. It's right there. World's your oyster. Daniel Jones is the puke stack. Listen. Don't go nuts. All right. Look, calm down. Stop rioting. Everybody chill out. I need you to hear me out here. Okay. Because this is chat's rioting. They don't want to hear it. Listen. I need you to listen. Okay. Please. They're still rioting. He just had quite possibly the worst game on national TV following a 4.98 game against San Francisco. It's never easy to play against Seattle in their pass rush. They should be playing from behind because I don't think their defense can do anything to stop what Miami's going to bring to the table. We do know that Miami's somewhat of a gettable defense. I'm not saying it's a soft landing spot. I'm saying that he's 5,800. I just want you to see what we can do. I just want you to see what we can do when we go with him. And then taking a look over here, Darren Waller's been bad. Paris Campbell, not really on the field. It looked the last game like they were really relying on somebody like Darius Slayton running a ton of routes and Wan'Dale Robinson getting a lot of easy targets. How much is Wan'Dale this week? He's 3K. How much is Slayton this week? He's 4,100. Who is to say that Daniel Jones can't have a game like he did against Arizona when they were playing from behind for the majority of the game, when he completed the same amount of passes that he completed against Seattle, similar against San Francisco, when they're running the football with him, 13 runs, 9 runs, 10 runs. If he can have a game like this, where it's not a huge game from like it's breaking NFL records, but 50 rushing yards, finds the end zone on one of them, gets you the 300-yard bonus, completes 25 passes, the possibility for us to do some ridiculous things on the other side, whether it's going to be with the very popular A-chain, the pivot at running back to him for brother Raheem Mostert, or getting to somebody like Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle, will differentiate you with upside. And that is what you want to do for the most part when you're playing daily fantasy tournaments. So the puke stack is something that we need to attack. Let's go over to Fantasy Labs and look at how this builds in their lineup builder. If you don't have an account over at Fantasy Labs, go to smizzle.tv/labs with an uppercase L. You can get a discounted membership or an NFL only membership, and that's the only way to get that is to use my link, smizzle.tv/labs. Here's all the lineup rules that I set right when I start. I will edit these and change them specifically for slates to get the allocations and combinations that I'm personally looking for. We start with pairing the quarterback with two of his pass catchers. This is my secondary stack rule. Every wide receiver that's in a lineup needs to have a compatriot on the opponent, running back, wide receiver, or tight end. And then these are the other rules that we build. I also force at least one position player that is going to be under 12%. You can push this higher or lower, however you want. And we are going to isolate and build 150 lineups with the quarterbacks that we talked about so far on this video. If you do not have a lineup builder and you wanted to try out and see if you are the next mass multi-entry superstar, you don't have to enter the Millionaire Maker like I do. It costs $3,000. It's a lot of money. People don't have that, but they do have mini-max games, 10 cent, 25 cent, where you can put in like $50, $25, $50, $75 to get your 150 lineups and see if you're the next mass multi-entry guy who can really get it done and blow up your bankroll in a great way during NFL season. So I wish you the best of luck. Go give Fantasy Labs a try. We'll see you in Discord. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.